Test, 1, 2. Good afternoon. The meeting for the Revere Zoning Board of Appeals will now come to order. I ask that you rise and salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call of the members. Mr. Hamdan? Here. Mr. Lemonna? Here. Mr. Lopes? Here. Mr. Pelton is absent. And Chairman Tucker?
Here.
Here. A quorum is present. First item is A2201, Durant Performance Coatings, Inc., 112 Railroad Street, appealing the decision of the building inspector and/or site plan review committee on November 16th, 2021, to approve the site plan application submitted in relation to 44 Railroad Street.
Now you have a request for a continuance on this?
I did receive an email from the attorney asking for a continuance.
Someone is up at the podium. Good afternoon. State your name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon or good evening, Chairman Tucker, members of the Zoning Board, Adam Gutpizal, the attorney that was mentioned by Ms. Melnick on behalf of Durant Performance Coatings and Burbank Realty, 255 State Street in Boston, from Roberto Israel and Weiner. I did request that continuance. We are in the same situation we were in last time I was before you. Unfortunately, it appears that we are short one member who's not present, and also, as I stated at the last meeting, it is our understanding that a traffic study will be brought before the Site Plan Review Committee, which an analysis of that study may moot and negate this appeal. So therefore, we respectfully ask for another continuance.
Okay. Are there any other proponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side. Hearing any opponents?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. And
Now, if it's the same dissertation that you did last month, there's no need to do it again for us, but...
Thank you, I appreciate that. So let me just ask a procedural question. I had, before the last hearing, submitted a written opposition. It was dated January 25, 2022. I just want to ask if the board has that.
We have that on record.
Thank you. And then I just want to add the suggestion, I think my brother kind of said it well. At some point, there'll be a traffic study that will go before the Site Plan Review Committee. The appeal that was noticed for tonight, noticed in the paper, newspaper, et cetera, regards the November 16th findings and recommendations of the Site Plan Committee. Whatever the Site Plan Committee does with this traffic study, if anybody wants to appeal it, they're going to have to do a separate appeal. As he just said, when he said it makes this appeal moot, what he really means to say is that's a separate appeal. It's not going to be before the board as part of this appeal. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other opponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. The members and I discussed this. Do any other members want to discuss it, or I just read what we discussed? Okay. The ZBA finds that the building inspector did not approve or make any decision regarding the recommendations submitted to the Revere City Council relative to the special permit application for 44 Railway Street. Frank Strigi, city planner, provided recommendations to the city council for consideration at the request of the council. The city council may adopt or not any recommendations that Frank Strigi suggests and incorporate them in the recommendations as conditions for a special permit. The city council then votes on the special permit. At no point does the building inspector approve any of the conditions, considerations by the city council in relation to a special permit application for 44 Railroad Street. Based on these findings, the ZBA concludes that this appeal is not applicable to the ZBA consideration under Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 15, and Section 1752.020 of the revised ordinance of the City of Revere. A motion shall, and I'm going to request this motion, shall the ZBA go on record that this appeal is not applicable to the ZBA consideration and place the application on file. I ask for a roll call, please.
Roll call on the motion to place the appeal on file. Mr. Hamdan?
Yes.
Voting yes. Mr. Lemonna? Voting yes. Mr. Lopes? Voting yes. Mr. Pelton is absent, and Chairman Tucker.
Yes.
Voting yes. This matter shall be placed on file.
Thank you.
Next application is A2202, Christina Napoli and Marcus Santos, 174 Endicott Ave, appealing the decision of the building inspector to deny the applicant's request for enforcement of the zoning ordinances of the city of Revere with respect to the property located at 172 Endicott Avenue. I did receive an email from the attorney requesting a continuance on this matter.
But from the attorney for 174 Endicott Ave or the 172?
Right now, the board is taking up A2202. I received, a continuation request for both A2202 and A2205.
What's the will of the council? Shall we continue? With the board, shall we continue? First, is there any applicants or anybody wish to speak on this? Proponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any members wish to speak? There is a motion to continue. I'll ask for a roll call.
Shall the Zoning Board of Appeals continue this matter to, I think it's March 23rd? Mr. Hamdan? No. Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Voting yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Mr. Pelton is absent, and Chairman Tucker? Yes.
Yes.
The motion to continue the matter fails.
Okay, then as discussed with the members earlier this evening, I'll read our discussion. The applicant Christina Napoli and Marcus Santos, 174 Endicott Ave, are requesting that the ZBA overturn the decision of the building inspector to delay or withdraw enforcement regarding the deck that was constructed at 172 Endicott Ave. The ZBA finds that the increase in size of the deck from the deck that exists prior is de minimis and does not warrant an order to remove the deck. So I'm going to ask for the motion. Shall the ZBA overturn the decision of the building inspector to delay or withhold enforcement of the zoning ordinance with respect to the property located at 172 Endicott Ave? Could you please explain the voting, yes or no?
So a yes vote will overturn the decision of the building inspector not to enforce. A no vote will not overturn the decision of the building inspector to enforce the zoning. Mr. Hamdan? Yes. Voting yes. Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Voting yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Voting yes. Mr. Pelton is absent, and Chairman Tucker?
No.
Voting no. The decision of the building inspector will not be overturned. Decision sustained.
Next calendar item number, please.
Next item is A2204, Pedro Calcano, 43 Pearl Avenue, requesting multiple variances of the revised ordinances of the city of Revere to enable the appellant to convert a single-family dwelling to a two-family dwelling on lot 125 at 43 Pearl Avenue.
What calendar item number is this?
A2204.
Thank you. Good evening, Council.
Mr. Chairman, good afternoon, and good afternoon to the Board of Appeals members, James Cipolletta, 385 Broadway in Revere, on behalf of the appellant. Mr. Chairman, respectfully, we would ask leave for a continuance to the next meeting for three reasons. One is we would like the opportunity to make a presentation to the full board. Number two, we would like the opportunity to dial our local Ward Councilor Joanne McKenna into this project. That has not come to fruition just yet. And third, been talking to some of my esteemed Beachmont neighbors there, and we would like to have a neighborhood meeting to discuss some of the design features of the project, which I think would be fruitful and helpful in the board making a decision if one is necessary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, seeing that it's a public hearing, are there any proponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? I believe there was opponents last month that spoke, so we already have them on file. If there's anyone new, please step up to the microphone, press the button, and state your name and address for the record.
I Eileen Mundis, 44 Pearl Avenue in Revere. I have a couple of concerns. I do not know where to start. I feel that the impact that this will have just basically on the infrastructure of this small side of the community of Revere is going to be impacted greatly. We have not been updated with our sewer systems. The flooding that we have, adding another bathroom, another level of homes, it's going to increase everything. The request for a rooftop, I feel is going to be an invasion, our expected privacy is going to be taken away from us. We do have a certain level of expectation for privacy. Putting up a rooftop area is now going to allow you across the street, going right into my house, into my bedrooms, and anybody around us, even the privacy of just being in our yards. As far about the request about putting the parking in the back of the home in the yard back there, 4 parking spaces to try to accommodate 4 vehicles. I'm concerned about the runoff that will cause flooding from the rains if that is covered over. If it's crushed stone, I believe there is a stream that runs in the backside of Pearl Avenue, all the way from Crescent Avenue down into the neighbors and things like that. The gas and the oil environmentally could be detrimental to that area. Variance is normally, to the best of my knowledge, granted when the plot is not at adequate size. This lot is an adequate size for the home that it houses, and to request a variance in order to add onto and change the topography of this building and the ground around it, I don't think is warranted. I'm not for it, and I live directly across the street.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is placed on file here right now. Are there any other opponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side.
I'm a proponent, can I still speak?
I'm sorry, we already went through proponents.
Right, I didn't hear you when you called, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll give you the latitude, so please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record for a proponent.
Hi, my name is Mauricio Osorno from 25 Sigourney Street, and I'm a proponent as I think we need more housing in our town.
Anything else?
I used to live on 129 Pearl Avenue. I think the street is a very good street. I think it's got very good transit, very good metro system. And I believe, once again, I'm a proponent of new housing in Revere.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if there is an opponent that wishes to speak, please come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, please. Up, if you press that button just there, there you go, thank you.
Donald Camo, 39 Pearl Ave. We had some opponents here last time that didn't speak, and I guess you'd like them to be on the record this time? Or, no,
Didn't
we,
speak at last time, they would have to either come up to
Okay.
or submit something in writing.
so, and I would like to say I can attest to the water situation there. I pump probably 1.5 million gallons a year in my sump pump that has been successfully diverted, but the water down there is definitely a problem. So I would be against all these variances. It's very difficult. It's a very small lot. The way the code reads, I guess, is 5,000. This very small lot, I'm guessing about 4,300 square feet. It's small. And I don't see how you can get all of this into a postage stamp of a lot. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other members, anybody else wish to speak? Okay, hearing none, I'll close that side. Any members wish to speak?
Do you have any parking plan for the project? I didn't see anything. Oh, you have it? Oh.
The driveway?
Yeah, so all this area is gonna be all paved? this is gonna, I think this is gonna cause charging more water into the sewer system. So I don't know what we're gonna do. It has to go through the engineering first.
Okay, there is a motion that being requested that this be continued. So I would ask for a roll call for the continuance.
Shall the zoning board of appeals continue this matter to the meeting of March 23rd? Mr. Hamdan?
No?
Voting no. Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Voting yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Yes, Mr. Pelton is absent. And Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, the motion to continue fails.
So what's the will of the members? Is there a motion to approve, deny? All right, if you just press the microphone, please.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes?
if the matter is not going to be continued, then are we not entitled to be heard on the merits?
Is it something that sure, go right ahead.
Right. So, Mr. Chairman, we did bring the architect who can explain the architectural elements. One of the things I was talking to my friends here from Beachmont was to have them involved in some of the modifications that they had suggested, and we were open to do that, and we were hoping to be able to continue the meeting to allow us to do that. And I think that what you would be seeing is a markedly different plan. The other thing I think is important is that this is under the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission, so they would be able to answer and address some of the concerns that were raised by some of the members, most notably the chairman. In order to do that,
It was not the chairman, most notably not that, I did not make any questions about water tables or conservation. One of the other members did.
no, I thought it was you who said
No.
you were pumping, you knew the water table, I'm sorry. Then, in any event, I know that that's a concern, and I would, we could go forward tonight with the application as it is, or as we had requested, a continuance to give us the opportunity to talk to the neighbors who had some. I heard some pretty good ideas from Mr. Camo when I was speaking with him prior to the meeting, and also Councilor McKenna. So I would ask for a reconsideration of the motion to grant the continuance, to give us the opportunity to do that, because I think it would be most fruitful. If that motion would fail, then I think we would would have to go forward on what we had proposed, which would be different, I assume, than what we would be ultimately asking for in a vote.
Another option for the zoning board of appeals would be to withdraw. If that's, I don't know, it's up to you.
Can we ask for reconsideration?
Sure, you can reconsider your motions.
Is there a reconsideration for the continuance? Anyone wish to reconsider? No? So this roll call for a reconsideration is denied.
Shall the zoning board of appeals reconsider their previous motion to allow the continuance? Mr. Hamdan? No. No. Mr. Lemonna? No. No. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Mr. Pelton is absent, and Chairman Tucker?
I would give him the opportunity, yes.
Yes, the motion to reconsider fails.
Okay, then I would ask leave to withdraw without prejudice, subject to resubmitting a materially different plan.
A motion to withdraw without prejudice. Ask for a roll call, please.
Shall the zoning board of appeals allow the applicant to withdraw the application without prejudice? Mr. Hamdan? Yes. Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Mr. Pelton is absent, and Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, this matter has been withdrawn without prejudice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll see you after we confer with Councilor McKenna and our Beachmont neighbors. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Last item on the agenda is application A2205, Thomas LeBrecq, 172 Endicott Avenue, appealing the order of the Inspector of Buildings / Zoning Administrator, which states in pertinent part, this correspondence serves as my order to correct to the erected deck located at 172 Endicott Ave. The owner appeals the order of the Inspector of Buildings, which orders the owner to cure the zoning nonconformity of the exterior modifications.
There was a request for a continuance.
I'm sorry, yes, Chairman Tucker, there was a request received by the applicant's attorney requesting continuance to the next meeting.
Okay, we're seeing that it's a public hearing. Are there any proponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. There's a motion to continue. I'd ask for a roll call.
Shall the zoning board of appeals continue this matter to the next meeting? Mr. Hemdan? Yes. Yes. Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Mr. Pelton is absent, and Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, this matter will be continued to March 23rd. There's no further business, Chairman.
No further business. Our next meeting, it will be, I believe it is,
March 23rd, it would be that fourth Wednesday of the month. That works for you guys?
March 23rd at 5 p.m. Thank you and have a good night.